Hey everybody, Jake here, and today we're going to take a look at something a little different. Today I'd like to talk about the accessories that I use with my fountain pens. Fountain pens can be a bit of a maintenance nightmare for some people. They're not as conventional or as easy to use as roller balls, ballpoints, etc. So a lot of people don't use them for that stuff, for those reasons. But I'd like to talk about a few of the accessories that I keep around that make the fountain pen hobby easier for me, at least. Number one is it's probably going to be a little controversial, so I'll go ahead and get it out of the way. It's a roller ball or a ballpoint, another pen. Now, there's a lot of really good paper you can get for fountain pens, but a lot of people, especially here in America, don't want to shell out money for that. I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about like hospitals or your work or things like that. So you might run into crappy paper. So when you do, having a roller ball pen that you can use instead is a lifesaver. Rollerballs write, a lot better than ballpoints, which is why I prefer them. They're useful, they don't bleed through paper nearly as bad, and you can use them on the crappiest, cheapest copy paper. So it's really, really good to have one of those somewhere with you at all times in case you can't use your fountain pen in that situation. Next up are fountain pen sleeves and fountain pen cases. So I have a few of these. I just did a review of my Notco Sinclair. It holds 3 fountain pens and a notebook. I love it. Carry it with me every day. And then you have pen sleeves. So this is an Aston leather pen sleeve. They're very, very nice, supple, soft leather. They're fairly cheap. They're about $11, $12. I'll do a review of it at some point. But this was the first pen sleeve that I used. The only downside to it is it's a little bulky, but it protects your pen very well. So if you have an expensive pen that you don't want to get scratched or damaged, this will offer some padding and obvious scratch protection, things like that. These here are Rickshaw pen sleeves. I got this one with my Karas Customs Decograph, and I just purchased this one after I found out how good these are. They're amazing. They do offer some padding. These are probably more for scratch protection though. It's a very, very durable material. It would probably be quite difficult to pierce through. And there's some very soft, like kind of faux fur lining inside. So it won't scratch your pens up. It'll keep them in pristine condition. And also, because this little seam here, it fits into the side of your pocket very well. So they're very slim, a lot smaller to carry than the Aston leather equivalent. So these are fantastic. Probably my favorite pen sleeves. So a case will give you something not only to carry your pens around in, but to protect them. And generally, if you're into fountain pens, you spend a lot of money on fountain pens. And I'm not saying hundreds of dollars, in that case definitely get some, but even if you bought, a $15 or $20 pen, you don't want that to get damaged. That's something that you spent money on. It's not, a 30-cent Bic Crystal pen. So, spend an extra $10 and protect it. And those fit, almost every size fountain pen. A few of your smaller ones will have some issues, but I haven't run into any pens that are too big for those. So those are really great options. Next up is some cartridges. Alternatively, a sample vial of ink, depending on what kind of filling mechanism you have. But fountain pens can run out of ink, and it's nice to have a backup in case you need it. These came like this. These are from Karas Customs. I just use it as an example because it comes in a Ziploc bag. Now, whether you're carrying a sample vial or cartridges or whatever, always keep them in a little bag, just so if it does start to leak, it doesn't get everywhere. Maybe even double bag it if you can. Because ink, most of it's water soluble, so you can get it out, but you don't want to have to worry about the cleanup and the hassle. So these are very convenient to have with you, but just be careful with them. Next up is a good small travel notebook. This is my traveler's journal. These are a little expensive for what you get, I'm going to be honest with you, but I like this a lot, and it fits, my needs. I just keep my little Kaweco All Sport Bug Box June Bride blah 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 long name pen clipped right here. They do offer pen loops for it, but those are a little small for most pens, unless you have like Lilliput or something that might fit in there. Probably be a better match for this, but you'd have to have that pen loop because the string isn't strong enough to hold it on. Anyway, these can hold a bunch of different notebooks of your choice. I currently have 3 in here, and it's not too bad. It's not pocketable for me, but if you have a purse or if you carry a bag, like I carry a messenger bag for work, I can toss this in there, no problem. These are great. You can organize them however you want. The layout is completely free. On my first notebook here is a calendar, and then I have kind of a generalized, just a blank notebook, and then I have a line notebook. So you can get a lot of utility out of these things, and they're very, very nice to have around in case you need spare paper or something like that. Next up is a way to organize your ink. I don't mean the bottles necessarily, but kind of the colors. I didn't know how amazing this was until I got it. This is a coloring ink testing book. There are alternatives out there, however, I believe this is the most available one. And this is what I do my ink swatches with. I try to organize by color. It's gotten a little mixed up lately, but it's somewhat close. But these are great. So this comes with 100 different 100 cards, so you can organize all of your inks as long as you aren't crazy and have over 100 inks. You can pick these up for about $10. They're fantastic, and that way when I grab a pen and I want to match it to an ink color, I can kind of go through here and go, oh yeah, that Asagao would be a great match for that. So this is very, very convenient for me when I'm picking out inks, because once I know the color that I want, it's a lot easier for me to find the bottle than rifling through them and trying to hunt for that exact color out of 40 inks. Next up is actually something a bit more specialized. This is just nib tuning supplies. So I have micro mesh and then 2 sheets of mylar paper here of different grits. This is just from Goulet, but you can get it from a lot of different places. They're for smoothing your nib. I do have a quick tutorial. I would highly recommend looking up someone who has a bit more experience with it. But the general idea is you lay it out and you take your nib and you run it kind of in a figure 8 pattern or a circle or something like that while rotating it. So it would be kind of like this, and then that way you get all the way around the nib and you keep that round. But you can smooth it down if there's too much feedback. Once you hit the micro mesh, you can hit the different grits of mylar paper and from largest to smallest, and that'll get you a very, very smooth and polished nib. So if something has a little bit more feedback than you'd like, this is a really good and cheap way to do it if you're comfortable with it. If you're not, get it done by a professional. Last thing here is a pen case, and I mean a big pen case. So in my pen collection video, I showed off this. This is just a, oh gosh, I don't know how to pronounce that. Lanxivi? I don't know. This is the brand that I had my first fountain pen from was a piece of crap, but this case is really good. If you want to go see the inside of it, you can check out that video. I'll try to show a little bit here, but it holds 48 pens. It's fairly cheap. You can kind of see there, and it has 2 loops for each one, which was a big decider for me. And it has a divide between the front and back, so you can scratch your pens. The 2 loops offer a lot more security, especially for larger pens. And I have some fairly expensive fountain pens that I really don't like getting scratched up, so the 2 loops is nice. The divider offers protection, and I can kind of split it up into, a bunch of different pens. But these are some great accessories. If I had to recommend one, honestly, I'd probably go for like a pen sleeve. They're great. They keep your pens in good condition. If you're not into that, then, maybe a slightly larger case just to keep your collection all together in, because as I was collecting, I found that the more pens I had, the less places I had to store them. So those are what I use every day. If you guys have anything else that you use that you want me to check out, let me know. I'm always looking for new reasons to spend money. Also, if you have any questions or anything that you'd like to ask, leave them down in the comments, whether they be related to the channel or personal questions or whatever, and I'll try to get to them. If I get 5 to 10, maybe more, I'll end up doing like a Q&A video. So if you guys want to know anything about the channel or how it's run or anything about me, just let me know. All right. If you like what you saw here, feel free to subscribe, check out my other stuff, blah, 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 and have a good day. Bye, guys.